Hi everyone, it's Graham from Admit. I'm here to talk about the Financial Times 2026 Global MBA ranking. This is a ranking of full-time programs across the planet Earth. Let's see, where do we start? Let's start with the winner, MIT Sloan. They came in at number 1, surging from number 6 last year. INSEAD comes in number 2. Wharton falling from number 1 to number 3, but still holding fairly strong. One thing I should mention, and this is really important, is that there are 2 schools that were in the top 5 last year who are not even in the ranking this year. And that is likely due to an administrative detail. As many of you know, the Financial Times relies heavily on alumni surveys, and they have to have a certain response rate to be eligible. So Columbia Business School and Bocconi in Milan are not in the ranking, yet both were in the top 5 last year. I view that as highly problematic. And I'll throw into the mix Stanford, the Graduate School of Business out at Stanford. They are not in this ranking either. They were also excluded last year. And I, again, think this is due to the same stuff about survey participation rates. And I think it's not a good look for any kind of global ranking to be excluding schools like Columbia, Bocconi, and Stanford. Just going to put that out there. Some other things I wanted to call your attention to. There were some big winners in this year's ranking in terms of movement. We saw the Cranfield School of Management in the United Kingdom jump 27 spots from 82 to 55. We saw ESSEC in Paris run from 47 to 24. So that's a gain of 23 spots. Some other big notable movers, IIM Bangalore, Miami Herbert, IIM Kozhikode, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, AGSM, Cambridge Judge moving from 35 to 17, a big lift there. And Notre Dame Mendoza moving from 75 to 61. I'll wrap that up with Indian School of Business also moved from 27 up to number 12. That was a gain of 15 spots. So clearly some winners and people really moving and moving the needle. We did see some setbacks. This always happens on the other side of the coin, right? So we saw Shanghai University of Finance and Economics fall 21 spots from 15 to 36. We saw UT Dallas, Jindal go from 54 to 68. UCLA Anderson fell from 19th to 32nd. Queens Smith fell from 79 to 92. Emory Guizueta from 45 to 56. Washington Foster fell 11 slots from 34 to 45. IMD from 22 to 30. Tuck from 20 to 26, and Georgetown McDonough from 43 to 49. So some movements up and down. There are always going to be winners and losers in these rankings. And again, given the way this methodology works for the FT, I'm always a little suspect of this ranking to begin with because it just seems so inconsistent. It seems to reward interesting behaviors, right? So there's a ton of measures around internationality of these programs. And one of the biggest is mobility, international mobility. And they really weight where graduates of these schools land. And I talked about this in another video I recorded, but I just think that really penalizes, obviously, all those great schools in the United States that send people on to really impressive jobs, but largely in the US, making big salaries too. So that's something to keep in mind. I would also argue that the survey and the methodology tends to favor people landing jobs that pay well, but that pay much better than what they were making pre-MBA. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Because again, a lot of folks going to these top MBA programs are already earning pretty good money coming in. So when they come out on the other side, they're making even more money, but it doesn't look quite as impressive as someone who is making, $40,000 and jumps to like $140,000. So something to keep in mind as well. And then, finally, I do wonder to what extent this kind of 3 years out salary, which is a big focus in this ranking, is accurately taking into account equity gains. So if you're graduating from Stanford or Harvard and you've gone off to start your own company and most of your kind of quote earnings are really just in equity, that may not play well for this ranking. And that may explain why we haven't seen Harvard dominating this ranking. Stanford obviously have been excluded. So all kinds of interesting things this year, as always. But anyway, that's my take, my quick take, having just seen the rankings this morning. And we'll be back with more next week on This Week with Admit.